It's Fredo, and I've got a couple of UPA battles for you. The first one's going to be week 3, and the second one's going to be week 4. These are both going to be post-coms. The first one because I was having OBS issues, and the second one just because I wanted to try a post-com and see if I'd play a little bit better outside of a live environment. So the first one is going to be against Goki Gamer. You can see the teams we both brought. My team's going to be in the description down below. They're Terra Water on the Araquanid, and I am Terra Rock on my Iron Treads. I've brought a sort of bulkier Keldeo set to try and counter the Chempao, and I've got an interesting Dragapult set. So I'm going to lead with Dragapult because I think that's got the best matchup. Obviously, as I said, this is going to be from Goki's side, not my side, so we're on the flip side of this. So this is pretty much what I thought would be a good lead for them, so I'm just going to go for the substitute with Dragapult, just in case this thing tries to toxic me. I'm also a little bit HP invested, so I will be able to take anything they want to go for, hopefully. I think I EV'd, so I could live this from the Clod, or the sub would. So now a Will-O-Wisp is completely free for me, so I'm just going to go for the Will-O-Wisp as the Dialga does come in, so that's going to be pretty good. This thing's packing like coverage Earthquake for our Overquill. That I didn't bring the Overquill because obviously they've got the Bravery and that thing can run Defiant. So I've got a free sub, so I'm just going to go for my Phantom Force, and I'm just not seeing anything really wrong with that. Obviously we see the Trick Room come out, and with my team being super fast, that is going to be a big problem. So obviously the Bravery can switch into this Phantom Force. And in my head when I was prepping, I completely forgot about the dual typing of the normal on this. So Phantom Force is my only real attacking move apart from U-turn. So we've got the sub and the Will-O-Wisp. Now, I'm like, I want to burn this thing. Are they going to make the read and go into Araquanid? They do make the read, so the Water Bubble is going to protect this thing from getting burnt. I only learned the Water Bubble would protect that while I was looking up the calcs and just doing a bit of checking while the battle was going on. So they're going to get their Terra off, and as you can see, they are the Terra Water. And I don't really have anything that wants to switch into this, but we got the free sub. So I'm going to take the slow U-turn with Dragapult against the Araquanid. Thank you to the Trick Room. So here, I'm like, I really don't know what to go into against this thing. It's going to get some massive damage off on anything that does come in. So I'm thinking I want to go into something that's going to scare this out. So I'm going to go into Keldeo. I think the Secret Sword's going to do loads of damage. They're probably not going to want to take damage on this because it can put in a good shift against my team with the Trick Room. As we see, it does think about switching, but we are going to find out that he's just going to go for the Liquidation and get massive damage off on the Keldeo as I go for a substitute because I thought this thing was going to swap out. And yeah, so I didn't have enough HP to swap out or go for the sub there, unfortunately. I really thought they were going to swap out. So yeah, we're just going to go for the Secret Sword, get our damage. They're going to get their KO after the Trick Room has returned to normal. So we're back to normal speed now, so I don't have to worry about this thing outspeeding, but I've got to keep in mind that Trick Room is still in the back. So I need to be careful with the Dialga, and I need to be aware that the Hatterene can also run that. So they're going to be scared out, obviously. They don't want to lose this just yet. They've got the Clodsire. I'm packing the Psychic for the Clodsire. So I'm in two minds about going for my Thunderbolt, predicting the Hatterene to come in and take it, or the Dialga, or just going for the Psychic and predicting the Clodsire. I do decide the Clodsire is going to come in, so I'm going to go for the Psychic, and as you can see, this Hatterene is just going to eat this. So now I'm like, I need to get some damage on this, or I do have the Sludge Wave as well, so I could go for the Sludge Wave, but I'm just going to go for the Thunderbolt just in case this thing does come in, and as you can see, it does. So now I've got the Focus Blast, and the Focus Blast will KO this thing. So thankfully we do land, and they don't manage to get the Trick Room up. So as you can see, we can take a little bit of Life Orb chip, This is like a free Chen Power for them, and I still think that I'm going to have a bit of utility out of my Thundurus, so I'm not going to stay in on this. I believe I switch into Cinderace, thinking this thing is just going to go for the Ice type move, because I've still got the full healthization in the back, and I want to try and keep that thing at full health for as long as possible. So I did a couple calcs, and I did find out that Cinderace would be the best swap in. So I will be swapping in to Cinderace to take what I hope is going to be an Ice Spinner. So in comes Excelsior the Cinderace, and it is an Ice Spinner, and yeah, that doesn't do much to us at all. So now I want to see if this thing is going to be scared out by me, because I'm Choice Scarf, that could also be Choice Scarf. I'm going to go for Pyro Ball, because we'll live another Ice Spinner, and this thing comes in, and I can see, right, all I need to do is land another one, which I do. So no Trick Room. We are safe from Trick Room now, because we know the Arachnid is Choice Banded from the damage it's done to us, so that can't Trick Room. Cloud's not going to Trick Room, nothing's going to Trick Room against us, so great. Our fast Pokemon are going to be in a good position. So they're going to go into the Clodsire. Obviously, I need to keep Cinderace around because of the Chien-Pao, and I think it's choice based on it swapping out, and I think it's choice Scarf because of the damage it did. So I'm going to go into Dragon Ball because we know we can take an Earth Power, and they do go for the Toxic, predicting that. So well done to them on that one. So now they've still got the Water Bubble, and they've still got the normal type immunity to my Phantom Force. So I'm just going to go for the Phantom Force. I thought it was going to be Willow there, but it's Phantom Force this turn, because I'm thinking, right, they might switch into one of their others. Now we're going to try and hit with the Phantom Force, and the Bravery is obviously immune to that. So this turn I'm going to Will-O-Wisp, and this is probably where I should have been making some better reads, knowing that they've still got this core that they can flip around. I'm going to go for the Will-O-Wisp. I'm not going to be able to hit this, unfortunately. So I'm getting a little bit frustrated with this dual core. So I do want to get out with Dragon Balls. The toxic damage is going to be bracking up. So I'm just going to be going for the U-turn. That does unfortunately mean that if I U-turn, something is going to have to die to this. So obviously I want to keep the Cinderace around, and I want to keep the Zacian around because that's still at full HP. So I'm just going to have to sack the Thundurus, unfortunately, and that thing just dies. Honestly, this Arachnid set is just an absolute beast, so fair play to Goki for coming out with this one. So, like I said, I've got Cinderace. Cinderace will be able to get the KO with the U-turn here, so I'm just going to go into Cinderace. There's no rocks up, so Cinderace is just really free to keep coming in. So I will be able to go for the U-turn, and then if they didn't sack the Arachnid to that, then I'm able to get the momentum. So we do go for the U-turn as the Quad comes in. Obviously that's not going to do much damage because it's a Clodsire. And now I'm seeing a free opportunity to bring my Iron Treads in. And Iron Treads can hit everything on Goki's team with an Earthquake apart from the Bravery. Which is why we are Terra Rock, because that will also hit the Chien-Pao and the Bravery. So we're going to get the boosted speed. And I'm thinking, do I Earthquake? Do I Iron Head? Do I Terra Blast Rock? What is going to be my best option here? So I am just going to go for the Earthquake because I don't want to make too big a read on this first turn. And we can see, there we go. We get a lot of damage off. They're going to get the Earth Power. I didn't go for the Rock Terra because Earth Power is still going to be super effective anyway. So I've calced and I found out that a Terra Blast Rock after I've Terra'd is not going to get the KO on the Clodsire. So I'm going to go for the Iron Head because that will hit everything that Goki could go into. So we're going to get our Terra off. As I said, we are going to be Terra Rock, but I have clicked the Iron Head instead of the Earthquake this turn because I wanted to be able to hit this in case it came in and it would have got the KO on the Clodsire. So yeah, that does a really nice amount of damage. As we can see from Goki's side, it's a little under half. It's kind of hard to read that from the other side. So now I'm going to go for the Terra Blast Rock because it will pick up a KO on anything other than the Clodsire, but 2 will definitely KO it. And we can see it's on 2 HP. So I've come to the conclusion that the Chien-Pao is Choice Scarf. I have Rapid Spin on Clodsire, so I want to be able to outspeed the Chien-Pao. So I'm going to get the cool Rapid Spin KO. Obviously we take a little bit of Rocky Helmet damage through that, but I definitely outspeed the Chien-Pao now, so it means I'll be able to get massive damage and potentially KO. Terra Blast Rock is not going to KO. I do have the Iron Head though, so I'm going to play for the Iron Head flinch on this thing. We're going to go for the Iron Head, and we don't get the KO, and we don't get the flinch, and that is going to be Iron Treads going down after doing a really good shift and putting some good damage across his team. So now I've still got Zacian in the back at full HP, got Dragapult, and I have got Cinderace. So Ice Spinner is not going to be able to KO the Cinderace, so I'm just going to come in, I'm going to go for the U-turn because I will get the KO on this, and I will also get the KO on the Araquanid. Obviously I won't get the KO on the Bravery, but I'll still be able to get a little bit of damage and get the momentum. So yeah, you will be seeing the U-turn come out, and they do go into the Araquanid, and we will be getting another KO for Cinderace. Cinderace putting in a good shift as well this game. So now we've got Dragapult or we have got Zacian. I want to go into Dragapult just in case the Chien-Pao comes back out, because I think that's going to be their best swap here. Now we're going to make it so the Chien-Pao is going to have to go for the Ice move because of my full health Zacian in the back. Zacian will obviously be able to take the Dark type move. I'm going to let Dragapult go down. Then I'm trying to find out if Cinderace can live a Ice Spinner from the HP we are at. So I'm doing some calcs because I don't want to take unnecessary damage on the Zacian, just in case that is also like a Choice Scarf Bravery. So I am going to go into Cinderace. I know I can live this Ice Spinner, so I'm more than confident in taking it as long as they don't get the crit. And as you can see, we just live it. Another KO for Cinderace, and then we're going to go into Zacian, and then that just leaves the Bravery to deal with. But we have got Zacian, or we have got the Cinderace that can hopefully deal with this. So I'm in an R and about going for a play rough because I don't want to miss it. Close combat could have potentially killed depending on their set, but I've decided play rough is going to be my best bet, and we do unfortunately miss. So I see this thing roost, I'm like, oh my god, it's going to be a bulk upset. Thankfully the play rough lands, Iron Head does not KO, and the second play rough is going to land there. So yeah, good game to Goki. Make sure you check him out. His links are going to be in the description. And now we are back with the game against Endless. Team's going to be in the description down below. Endless has a ridiculously threatening team. It's been built very well. I was a little bit surprised they didn't bring their rain mode because they do have Pelipper, and I thought Swift Swim would be coming. So we have got the Choice Scarf Dragapult with enough speed to outspeed a Swift Swim thingamajig. The Basky Legion, I couldn't remember his name. So we are Terra Fairy on Iron Treads, they are Terra Poison on their Quackable. So I'm just going to lead with Thunderous because I thought that would be the best bet based on what they had. We've got Taunt just in case they wanted to use setup. So I'm like, great, okay, I can just go for Thunder Wave. They're probably going to be going for the Terra first turn, so they don't get the super effective hit from my Thunderbolt. Thunder Wave also covers anything coming in apart from the Garchomp. So I'm like, yeah, it's quite free, and I would love to paralyze this thing if I can. So we do see the Terra Poison come off. We're going to go for Thunder Wave, and we do land it, and they do get their hit off. So straight away I'm like, okay, that's Choice Banded. That's quite scary. But now I'm just like, what am I going to do here? I could Thunderbolt, I could U-turn, or I could Taunt. I'm just going to go for the U-turn. We've got the Overquill, we'll be able to get the Intimidate on them, and Overquill will be in a good position there. So, Overquill comes in, we get the Intimidate off, so they are now at -1 attack. We can see the Aqua Step is not going to do much to Overquill at all. We are a bulky Overquill with the Shocker Berry. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to get my spikes up because this thing is obviously choiced, so it's not going to be able to rapid spin those away. And I'm pretty sure the Garchomp is coming in anyway, so I'm just going to get my spikes because I want those for the rest of the game. If I can neutralize the Quack, then they are here to stay. So I'm going to go for the Ice Beam because I want to waste a Yachi Berry if this Garchomp has it. And I outspeed, which I did not expect to happen, and we get the freeze, which is massive. We do waste the Yachi Berry, so I was very happy with that. Even if the Garchomp had stayed in here, I was going to be able to live to Earthquakes because I've got the Shocker. That was the whole point of this set. So I'd go for the Ice Beam again, thinking I might be able to KO the Garchomp, or it'll get neutral on this, which it just does absolutely no damage to that whatsoever. So Reshiram is scary. I'm like, I don't really have anything that switches into Reshiram, and I'm not sure if it's going to go for Dragon move or if it's going to go for Fire type move. What do I do? Do I waste my Thunderous? And I'm like, no, I will waste Superior. Superior come into another game, and Superior being my sack fodder, which, yeah, Blue Flare, definitely going to KO the Superior. So now I'm like, okay, I've got some options here. I could go into Dragapult. We could be able to get the super effective Dragon move off, or I could just go for the Shadow Ball and go Iron Treads. But I didn't really want to pop my booster energy, but I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to pop one of my booster energies or my Rusted Sword thing on my Zacian. So I do make this decision, and I'm like, okay, Earthquake is going to KO this. Earthquake is pretty free into their team, so they do go into the Garchomp. This is definitely not going to take 2 Earthquakes, so yeah, there's one, and then I'm like, just Earthquake again. There's no reason not to here, so thank you for showing up, Garchomp. Obviously this thing may have got some damage off in the Overquill if it hadn't got frozen, but it wouldn't have been able to do too much because of my Shocker Berry. So now I'm like, okay, great. I've got the Supercell Slam for this thing. Try and say that 5 times fast. That's why I brought it. This will be able to get the KO. If I can just Supercell Slam. I'm going to go for the Fairy type, just in case this thing goes for the Liquidation. But Endless does make a very good read and is trying to figure out if I have the Supercell Slam here. And as you can see, they go into the Reshiram, and now it's not going to do any damage at all. Reshiram is really bulky, like seriously bulky. So I'm like, okay, I Earthquake this turn. Hopefully I can get rid of this thing, but it is going to swap out and they're going to sack their Terra Poison Quack. So thankfully that thing didn't get to run away with the game, which I'm very, very pleased about. So we will be seeing the Callus, which is the Dio speed, come in. And I'm like, why has he gone into this? So I've looked at the calcs and I'm like, I can get an Earthquake plus Rapid Spin KO on this. I can live a Psycho Boost. So based on the calcs, I'm like, I'm going to Rapid Spin first so I can outspeed the second turn. And then I will get the EQ off and get my KO. So we go for the Rapid Spin. We are now going to be faster than this. And it goes for Trick Room. I genuinely did not expect the Dio speed to go for Trick Room. So I'm going to go for the Earthquake, and I'm, based on the calcs I've done, this thing is paper thin. I'm going to be able to get my KO, and I don't. This thing actually lives. He was running a fair bit of HP on that to be able to live that. Gets the slow teleport off, and the Reshiram comes in. And I'm like, okay, so my Superior has already been sacked to this. I don't want to get damage on my Iron Treads. So I'm like, something is going to have to die to this. Basically trying to decide what I want to die to this and trying to figure out how I'm going to stall out the Trick Room. Overquill has done what I wanted Overquill to do and take on the Garchomp. And the I really struggle to say that. The Quack is gone, so Overquill is not as useful anymore. So yeah, we're going to go into Overquill, and I'm going to go for the Blue Flare. So I'm already noticing that this thing is running a lot of, I don't want to say low accuracy moves, but not 100% accurate moves. So hopefully we'll be able to get that thing miss a move or two against us. So the Trick Room's still up. I am in a situation where I'm like, okay, something's got to come in, something's going to have to take damage. I don't want anything to take damage. So I'm going to go into Treads, and then I'm going to predict the Fire move. So I will be going into Dragapult to take the Fire move, because obviously it can't go for a Dragon move against us. So I'm going to swap out and go into Dragapult, and you will see that they do in fact hit their move. And that does an absolute amount, like crazy amount of damage. So I don't want to lose Dragapult yet, because I want to keep that Choice Scarf around. I can't swap into Thundy because the HP is too low. I definitely don't want to take damage on Iron Treads, because I still know that can do a lot of damage to their team. So I am going to choose to go into Zacian, just in case they go for the Dragon move this turn, which they probably shouldn't, because I've got 2 fairies, but they are going to die to the Life Orb recoil anyway. So yeah, that thing's gone. And the Trick Room's gone, thankfully. So that is that over and done with. Now, they obviously have the Klefki, and I'm like, I can substitute on this. If it goes for the T-Wave, my Lumberry will proc, and I can get my substitute, and then it will die to 2 hits. But I had to do a calc, and I was at 24% instead of 26%. Obviously, you need at least 25% HP, well, 26 to get a substitute off. Close Combat did not KO this thing, and I'm like, unfortunately, I've got another Trick Room to deal with, and I don't think I have enough Pokemon left to deal with this. So I'm just going to go for the Wild Charge in case the Basket Legion comes in, but Endless does use their Deoxys for the sack. I'm counting down these Trick Room turns, and I'm like, I don't even know what a Basket Legion does. I don't know if that is female or male looking at it. I don't know the color differences. I've never played against a Basket Legion before. I know it gets Last Respect, and yeah, here we go. So Trick Room, Last Respect, and most of their team is gone. So I've got to try and play around the remaining Trick Room turns and the Last Respects. So based on what I have left, I'm doing some calcs, and I've worked out that Thundurus can KO this, and it can also KO the Klefki. So Dragapult is the least useful member on my team. Okay, so great. Dragapult has done nothing this game, unfortunately, but I've got to lose something to the Trick Room. Last Respect is coming out again, more Life Orb chip. So, as I said, from the calcs, Thundurus can KO this, and it can KO the Klefki. There is only 1 turn left of the Trick Room, so unfortunately I'm going to have to sack Iron Treads to this. So I'm just going to go for the EQ. I know the Last Respect is going to KO, and yeah. So Thundurus is going to be able to KO this, and it's going to be able to KO the Klefki, no problem at all. Trick Room's gone, so great. I'm thinking, I've won this. I've got it in the bag perfectly. I played around that, and this thing gets Aqua Jet. Yeah, I did not know that. If I'd known this thing had got Aqua Jet, I would have swapped those last 2 turns around, and I would have sacked the Thundy and then gone into Iron Treads afterwards. So GG to Endless, and yeah, make sure you check my opponents out. Their links are going to be in the description down below.